Welcome everyone, and in this video I want to kind of do a discussion of DSLR versus mirrorless. Now, for me it doesn't really matter what the camera is as long as you can get what you're after. The camera I'm shooting on is a mirrorless. The still for camera I want is a DSLR, which is the 60 Canon 60. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because it's been rumored that Canon is ditching. Next year will be scrapping the Canon 60 Mark II for a Canon mirrorless full frame camera. So that's kind of cool having a full frame mirrorless camera. So I want to give you guys kind of a ups and downs of each, and so what you guys think. Do you prefer a DSLR or do you prefer a mirrorless camera? So I wrote down a couple things that would kind of give you guys a difference and balance of what it is. So when I'm talking about DSLR, I'm saying it's a digital single lens reflex, which means you're seeing what the lens is seeing. It has a mirror and a prism, which light goes in, it pops up into the viewfinder. Mirrorless doesn't really have that. It has a screen on the back and possibly a digital eyepiece, electronic viewfinder, which is having the lens what it sees view in a finder electronically. So let's give you guys some of the ups and downs of each. Now with weight, DSLRs are usually a little more heavier because they're having a prism and a mirror in it, as well as the longer lenses and all the other internal sensors for the camera. And normally mirrorless has been a little more lighter because they have smaller lenses. They don't have to have a mirror in it, it just has a sensor. So that's one thing you have to think about when you're switching or going between the two. With the lens selection, DSLRs have such a long history that there's such a wide range of lenses. You can get from really wide to super telephoto, and they have such a large collection of lenses you can pick for. Now, since mirrorless is kind of a new technology, there's not really that much of a range between the super wide and super telephoto, and there's not really that much selection in lenses. And they're usually not as fast. The viewfinder, with DSLR, the viewfinder is an optical viewfinder, so you're seeing what the lens is seeing, so which is perfect for low light situations and composing the shot through that. So you're seeing a true image of what your lens is seeing. With mirrorless, it's usually you have to use your viewfinder for it, or you can get some actually have it built in, others you have to get an accessory, an electronic viewfinder, which that is seeing the lens, a digital version of the lens. So it's kind of bad for low light because you're seeing what the lens is seeing electronically. So if it's a really dark set and you don't have any lights on it, you will not really be able to see what you're focusing on. Now let's talk about autofocus. Now I have to write this down so I get this right. DSLRs, they commonly use phase detection. What that does is it measures the convergence of two beams of light. So you are actually using that to actually focus on camera, which actually leads to a little faster autofocus. Mirrorless cameras usually use a contrast detection. Basically what that is using image sensor to detect the highest contrast point, so you can, that's what gets this autofocus off of. So if you have something that's a low contrast, if you have a black and white thing, like split, it can autofocus on that because there's such a high contrast between it, which honestly does leave a little slower of an autofocus when you're trying to do that, because you're not using the actual optics to do it, you're using the sensor to get the autofocus. Now battery life, usually with DSLRs, the battery life is a little bit longer since you're using the optics to focus and get images, wherein usually for mirrorless you have to use an electronic viewfinder or the LCD screen to get it, which will drain the battery. Now if you're using both at the same, using it for live view or playback is usually about the same, so it's not really that much of a difference. So for me, DSLR I think is a little more superior because you can do a little more. It's you are seeing what your lens is seeing through the optics. You don't have to worry about if the place is bright enough to be able to focus. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. And you can actually compose it in a normal light. You don't have to worry about having like a small light to actually help you compose this scene through the camera. Also another thing with the DSLR and mirrorless with the optics is if you have to get a accessory for the electronical viewfinder, you're using up that hot shoe, which you can use to connect it to a pocket wizard or any type of radio flash. So you're limiting your camera by doing that. And with the DSLR, since it has a mirror and prism, you still have the room for that hot shoe to stick a pocket wizard or any type of remote trigger for a flash. So it gives you more chances to create the images that you need. So I'd love to hear what you guys think about DSLR versus mirrorless. What do you guys prefer? What do you think about getting? I'd love to hear you guys thought about it and keep this discussion going, because I think this is where the future of photography is going. You see a lot more mirrorless out there than you do DSLR because of the weight and the size of the camera. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button down below. You also can follow me on my Twitter and Instagram page where I post everything there. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.